Coming up on the Making Waves VO podcast.
And I kind of had this in an epiphany one day. Easy for me to say. But I kind of had this in an epiphany, and I was like, I want to serve people without expecting something in return.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves. Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
This is the Making Waves VO podcast with Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobby Maxwell.
It's the Making Waves VO podcast presented by Full Compass, fullcompass.com.
We know VO.
Hey, Bobby. How's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
I am well, thank you very much. Our guest is waiting to be let in. He's on standby. Our good friend Rob Reed's joining us. Okay, we're gonna chat with him in just a second about marketing. Rob is a deep thinker when it comes to marketing stuff.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, and Bobby had a recent meeting with him that she was like, wow, you are dropping gold, my man. And she said, let's do a podcast. So we're going to have him on in just a little bit, and we are going to engage you, our fair listener, with some good marketing wisdom to get you set up for 2026. But Bobby, how has the last week been for you as of this recording?
I was shocked. I just didn't expect this early in the year to be so busy, and I love it. It's a great sign of the year to come, I guess, you know?
Oh, I'm hoping so too.
You were sick.
Yeah. And it was a miserable week. I had like pretty much 3 days where I was totally jacked. I tried to work a couple of days and I sounded like garbage. I sound like garbage right now. But
yeah, you're not 100%, but you're much, much better than that little voicemail you sent me.
Yeah, and the thing is I was telling Lacey, our producer and editor and a fine voice actor herself, just a couple of minutes ago before you came in, Bobby, that I would take this all day long compared to how I felt in terms of like, if you gave me a full voice, but I felt like I felt last week, I will take this, what I got right now, with a little nasal and feeling better though.
So is the flu, huh?
I never got tested for anything. Who knows what it was. But I just, my symptoms were, chills, light fever, supreme pressure in the head. And then like when I had a relapse, because I thought I was on the mend, then a couple of days later I had a relapse and it was like the throat stuff kicked in, like the very sore throat and the coughing kicked in. And they're like, oh, you just thought you were done. All right, bright boy, here we go. How about this? Kapam!
So the bad thing was that even though you didn't have a voice, you really couldn't get some, other tasks done related to VO because you felt like crap.
I felt horrible. I didn't feel like doing anything. And the 2 days that I did work, and now I did work, quote unquote, every single day. But man, I picked my battles, that's for sure. Yeah. And when I did work, so it was very sporadic. I chose, okay, this is urgent, has to be done. This is urgent, has to be done. And I did those. So anything that was like more like, oh, I've got some flexibility, I made them flexible. So I'm going to wait till Rob comes on because I want to tell you all a little story that happened during all this too. It's kind of amusing. You guys might get a kick out of. But I'm looking forward to what 2026 holds, Bobby, because things have shifted and pivoted in Kev's world in terms of work and what kind of work's coming in, and I love it, and it's great, and I'm looking forward to what 2026 holds. So if you're cool, Bobby, let's bring in our good friend Rob. What do you think?
Only if you introduce him like you were talking about him before.
Okay. All right, I'll do that. I have officially hit the Entrada button for Rob. He's going to be joining us here in just a second, so stand by for that. And Bobby, as promised, here is the official Rob Reed intro by Kevin Kilpatrick. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome our friend of the podcast and brother in voiceover, the multi-talented, intelligent Texas Rob Reed.
Hey, even us women do that, Rob. I hate to tell you.
How are you, brother?
I am well. How are you?
Oh, God, there it is. Sam Elliott's illegitimate child.
It's good to hear your voice, man. How you been?
I've been good. I've been, yeah.
Wow.
I'm still reeling in the intro. That was amazing.
Whatever. We were just talking about before you came on, Rob, that, we're talking about, 2026 a little bit and getting ready for 2026 and marketing goals and these kinds of things. And I mentioned to Bobby, I was like, Rob is a deep thinker when it comes to marketing stuff. And she's like, yes, he is. And so it was really cool that she brought up, hey, I was in a meeting with him and he was talking about some next level stuff and some deeper thinking stuff. And I remember, Rob, just the chats that you and I have had, I'm like, this cat thinks about marketing holistically, if you will, and as a universe kind of vibe and universe coming into play. And I agree. And I love all that kind of stuff. Rob Reed, welcome to the Making Waves VO podcast. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thank you very much, and Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you too. And thanks for rescheduling. I was under the weather last week, and we were just chatting about that too, man. I'll take today, man, sounding nasally and stuff compared to how I felt last week. It was gnarly. My body had no clue whether or not it wanted to shiver because it was freezing or sweat like I had just run a marathon in August in Texas. You know how those go. It was just, awful, but I'm glad to be here this week.
Yeah, you sound great. I mean, I'm glad to hear that you're on the mend for sure.
Thank you, man. We hear it worse in our own heads, but yeah, there was a couple of days where as soon as I spoke, it was squeak. Yeah,
he told me he sounded like Christine Stone from Classic Rewind. I was like, no, that's my jam.
Oh, and so I was waiting, Rob, till you came on. We're gonna get to the marketing stuff in just a minute, but an amusing thing happened while I was sick last week. And that's as of this recording. I'm not sure when it's gonna air. It should air in January, but early January when I was sick last week. I worked a little bit on Monday. Tuesday, I worked every single day, but I pick and chose my battles. Thursday of last week was the worst day. I thought I was on the mend on Wednesday, was feeling pretty decent, and then Thursday was like, no, not even. You're not done yet. We're going to kick your ass a little bit more. And so I felt really bad on Thursday. And so I was only voicing stuff when I absolutely had to, sending out projects as I had to. So I was trying to nap in between. And then I've got two dogs, right? And they are noisy. My new little guy, my mini pincher, Pedro, is just noisy. He's a little yapper. So any noise outside, he's yapping. And then Poppy, our boxer lab mix, is like, what's going on? I'll join the fun. And so they do that as I'm laying in bed, and they won't stop. They're incessant. I'm like, oh, gosh, somebody's here delivering our package, something. And I go, and no, they're barking and looking up. And I've got a freaking bird in a bedroom of our house. And I'm like, no, I don't feel like dealing with this. And it's not the first time. This is like the third time it's happened in the last 2 years. So we've got a thing where we got a back patio, right? We've got a back patio.
Yeah.
And then we keep it screened in. It's screened in, but we keep one of the screen things open mostly. But then we'll crack a door so the dogs can run in and out. Well, I guess the bird had got in through the 2.5 foot gap in the door, and while I was just chilling laying down. So they're going nuts. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've done this before. I go get a towel. I'm like, I'm going to get a towel. I'm going to throw it on top of the bird. It'll submit, and I'll grab it with my hand gently and let it go outside. Mm-hmm. That's how it's always been. Now, this is a little rebel. It's a
devil bird.
It is. It's a devil bird, Rob. I think it was the tufted titmouse eastern warbler of the European spring. This was a little devil bird, and he had no light on being caught at all. So I'm chasing him around, and I see him fly, and I'm like, he went back towards that door. Maybe he's gone. 20 minutes later, roo, 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 roo. No, he's not gone.
No.
And then my dogs run upstairs to my studio area. I'm like, oh, no, he does not need to be in my booth. And so I thought he had gone. I'm like, okay, clearly he's not gone. I bring the towel back up. I try to chase him down again in my booth or my office studio area. It's a loft area, so I got the whole thing. He's flying around between stuff, going up in, foam padding. He's going up on the speakers. He's flying everywhere. Then my dogs are yapping this whole time trying to get him, especially my little mini pincher. He's a little hunter dog, man. It's pretty cool. But anyway, they chased him back downstairs, and then I'm chasing him around back downstairs. Can't find him, and I thought, oh, maybe he's gone again. And I'm like, I didn't hear anything for hours. And then, 2 hours later, roo, 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 roo. I'm like, shit. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go outside, and I've got a big fishing net that I take fishing with me. Yeah, I'm like, it's genius.
Yeah.
And so my dogs chase it back upstairs to my studio area.
Oh,
and so I've got my big net, right? Mm-hmm. Just imagine Chevy Chase, Tim Allen, or Kevin James, some big doofy, sitcom guy chasing a dumb bird around in his house. I am knocking stuff over. I knocked down my 4 Sovas Awards,
Whoa.
and they went down the stairs, and they made cuckoo, because they're heavy. They went cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. And I still didn't catch the little prick. And I'm like, he ran off, he flew off, and I'm chasing him everywhere. And I get really close, and his little beak is opening and closing, like he's taunting me.
Yeah, he is.
Little tufted titmouse warbler. And then... I couldn't find him again 2 hours later. It's 7 p.m. at this point, and Deborah was home, my wife, and I'm like, babe, we may or may not have a bird in here. I don't know. I feel terrible, but I've been chasing it on and off all day with a net.
Wow.
And so anyway, about that time, the dog started barking again. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And it was in the kitchen. And the dogs chased it to a little hallway that was kind of closed off. I got my net. And so I have got a doorway opening essentially between me and the bird. And that's it. It's closed behind. And then it's just me and the bird. And I'm like, all right, here we go. I got my net. And it takes off from the blinds it was sitting on, comes flying straight at me.
Yeah.
And
Oh my gosh.
throw my head to the side, throw the net up. And I'm like, dang it. I didn't see it. And then I'm like, where is it? And then I look down in the bottom, and there it is in the net trying to get out. I'm like, oh my gosh, open the door. And I ran it outside, flipped the net open, and he flew out right away and took off. So.
Oh, he lived.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that sucker. I'm telling you, he was a demon devil bird. He wasn't going anywhere.
It's because we got down in the 20s here in Tennessee. He's going, I'm going in your warm, toasty house.
Yeah. Sorry for the long, drawn-out story, but that's exactly how it happened.
That's awful. It's traumatic.
Oh, and I felt terrible.
It's my worst nightmare. I'm scared to death of birds. So,
What?
Oh, are you?
Oh my God. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That shit happens in my
birds.
house, and it's all Marie. I have nothing to do with that. So
That's hilarious.
Totally get it.
So, Bobby, this voice belies the man inside. Rob is a very sensitive and caring guy.
Yes.
He's afraid of birds. This is new to me. And you know what else was new to me and a little bit of a surprise, Bobby, was a couple of years ago, Rob drove up from Austin and came up, and we were going to ride to VO Atlanta together, and he did. And I needed to go do a quick little siding repair on our son's house. And I'm like, Rob, would you mind helping me just really quick, maybe just hold ladder or whatever? And he's like, yeah, I'm not very handy, but I'll help you out, man, as best I can. I'm like, you're not handy? He goes, nope, not at all, man. I'm like, wow, that surprises me. Do you remember that, Rob?
The voice
I do.
defies the inside.
Oh, goodness. In the Making Waves VO podcast, we'll be right back.
Hey, it's Amanda from Amanda Utter VO, and you're listening to the Making Waves VO podcast with my friends, Kevin and Bobby. Thanks for listening.
Oh, Bobby, I remember getting into voiceover, and one of the most exciting parts about getting into voiceover is buying all the gear. You don't realize that until you become a voice actor and you got to produce your own stuff. And you go, ooh, this part should be fun. But then you go, I have not a clue on what I'm supposed to buy.
Exactly.
That's why you trust your good friends at Full Compass, fullcompass.com. They know VO there, and you're going to have a great selection of pro audio gear, and you're going to get a lot of good help. And there's a lot of good attributes that go along with buying from Full Compass.
Yeah, so if you're not really sure when you got the piece of equipment and you have questions about it, they have a free 2-year service or repair plan. They have free shipping on orders over $49. I love that. I think my favorite thing is the low price guarantee, because you just never know. You said a second ago that you're getting into this and you don't know what you need, but how about, do you know if you're paying the right price for it? So you don't have to worry about that when you shop at fullcompass.com. They'll guarantee to match the price on the products they sell for new, identical, and immediately available products offered at a lower price.
They have flexible financing, Bobby, and they also have free expert assistance, and that's why we say we know VO at Full Compass.
Everything from microphones to interfaces to headphones to mic booms, they've got it.
If you have any questions and you're more old school and you want to call them on the phone, you can call Full Compass at 800-356-5844. Full Compass and fullcompass.com.
We know VO. And now back to making waves.
But man, you're so talented in other ways, and we're glad to have you on the podcast today, and glad to have you as a friend too. Let's talk about the marketing in 2026. Bobby, what happened? What was the meeting about with y'all?
We have both we've both been doing automotive marketing. We're kind of, supporting each other with that. And we just got to talking about other genres and overall marketing and what we really need to concentrate on, and if this is working. And Rob just got really philosophical, and he reads a lot, so he was quoting from some books, and they really made sense. And then he compared it to his previous occupation of being a radio station general manager. And I was going yes, I get that totally. And I thought, hold that. I want to put you on the podcast with Kevin and I. So take
That's
over.
Great.
Well, for years, and I should back up and say that as I was getting prepped for the journey into voiceover, I think that the management position and the fact that I got into sales, because I was on the air for 30 years before I made the move across the hallway to sales and then later to management. And I think that, when it comes to all of those things that are tied together, I think I was being prepped, and on a learning journey to make sure that these were things that were going to help me once I got my business going. And then as that happened, I kind of modified my marketing journey, as all of us do. Once we get our feet in the door and we're working full time, I think, we have to find our own way. It's like I'll compare it to coaching. So the more coaches you go through, and they all have a system that's going to work for them, right? I mean, that's what they're coaching. A philosophy or a strategy or a technique of some sort. But until we can make that our own, it's just not going to be really effective or, as some other people might say, authentic when it comes to the marketing side, which just like what we do as voice actors, that marketing needs to be authentic, or I think people see right through it. You shoot off a LinkedIn message and how many of us have seen that? We just, we don't relate to it. So it's the same way with marketing. I believe that you have to do it in a non-salesy way, and you want your prospect, your lead, to see that you are truly there to market their business or to help them solve a problem, not market their business. That's what I'm doing. But you want to be able to solve a problem, so you want to make them the hero of whatever your marketing is. And whether that's in the form of an email or some out-of-the-box idea that you have in approaching that. I think that's where the important part lies, and it's got to be real, authentic you and not sound like some form template that you're copying and pasting into an email.
Rob, if I can share this, hopefully, if not, we'll edit it out. Every morning has like a what do you call it when you're doing your writings or whatever?
Yeah, it's a solitude, a time of solitude. Where nobody else is bothering or interrupting or needing your time in that moment. And that was something that kind of started with when I made the move to management. I discovered that everybody and their brother inside the building would do this to you in the course of a day. Hey, Rob, you got a minute?
Mm-hmm.
You got a minute? And when you are, when you're entrenched in a project and you're all in, you're in the zone that we call it, and then somebody interrupts you, it's scientifically proven, and the numbers actually may have gone up since we're pulled in so many directions with social media and devices. But 23 minutes is what it takes you to get re-engaged and get back to the place where you were. And so I started my day like almost 2 hours before everybody else in the building so that I could have that time and I'm not being pulled away in direction. So that's kind of what I've done with the voiceover work. And I'll spend about 2 hours in the morning just in solitude with myself, writing, intentions, gratitudes, whatever I'm feeling at the moment. And that's that solitude time that's important to me. And I have to block that off, or else, I'll let something else eat it up. I'll let that freaking bird. I'll let that bird in the house, and then it's all over.
Rob, as I mentioned, go ahead, Bobby.
That's a great idea. No, I think it's a great idea that you do that. It's helping you internally and preparing for the rest of the day as well.
And I was going to build on that. Rob, you're as I mentioned, you have like a holistic, I think, feel about marketing and all that stuff. And that sounds like your writings and your solitude time could be a little part of that. I want to know how that translates, though. Let's take your time that you do in the morning, because you still do it, right?
Sure, yeah.
So how does that translate to either, you being a better marketer or you being a better business person overall?
Yeah, I think both, actually, because it puts you in tune with your day, with your intentions. To be able to serve people in a much better way. So from a holistic standpoint, I have to remind myself to do this over and over again, and they may be little things. And that's where the gratitudes and the intentions come in. With those intentions, I find that a lot of them are the same each and every day. Like they repeat themselves on.
That's fine though, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great reminder, and it's like a structured exercise that we get into on a daily basis, right? Maybe it's a walk, or something like that. That you get away from your device totally for about 20 minutes and just. Or longer, and
yeah.
and be able to use that time to really clearly think without everything pulling you in all of these different directions. And so I think that ultimately rolls over into everything else. For me, one of the things, I saw a movie a couple of years ago that Robert Duvall did back in 2011, and it's called 7 Days in Utopia. And one of the things that happens, it's a story about a golfer. And he's had a meltdown like on the PGA Tour, and he ends up broken down in this little bitty Texas town. And Robert Duvall is this old guru, right? And he brings across this see it, feel it, trust it mantra. And SFT, he wrote it on all of his golf balls. And so it's a vision exercise. Here's what I want to see. This is the perfect ideal outcome of what I want here. and this is what it's going to feel like, right? Like, how's it going to feel when you book that job, or when you do that undirected read that hits the mark every time, or seeing one of your pieces on national television play? What does that feel like? And then ultimately to just trust it and know that all of the work that you have done that's led up to this point is going to be there. And I think you can tie that into all of the marketing efforts that we do as well. And when we do it that way, I think, or at least for me, that's an effective way for me to structure that time and that marketing. And it's all about time management too. So I think that comes into play right there as well.
Hi, everyone. This is voice actor Karin Gilfrey, and you're listening to my awesome friends Kevin and Bobby on the amazing Making Waves VO podcast.
Speaking of time management, I think, a lot of us will say, I'm just so busy during the day. I don't have time to do my marketing or think of where I want to go. But we, just like Rob in the morning, I think we all have that time. I do it in the middle of the night. I wake up almost every night, and I'm wide awake for a couple of hours. So I keep tablets in the bathroom and out in the living room, and that's where my best ideas come. And Kevin, I know you don't accept a lot of phone calls or texts later in the day, so I'm thinking maybe your time is probably in the evening or weekends.
Yeah, it is. And I do, my texts are still on and all that stuff, but a lot of times I shut it off at the end of the day for sure, and just get absorbed in whatever I'm doing around the house. Am I cooking? Am I watching a crime show? Am I chilling with Deborah? And I block it all out a good part of the time, and on weekends too. I get sassy now and then, and do some work stuff and stuff like that on weekends and stuff. But I try to just decompress a little bit, because it's y'all. I know everybody's got stuff. Everybody's got their things, right? But like this morning, I've probably already had at least 15 emails come in about different things. Yeah. And, I look at, I'm going to, what was January 7th? What day was that? That was last Wednesday. Last Wednesday, I sent about 40 emails last Wednesday, whether it was projects, spots, different things like that. So, and then I was looking the other day, on a regular day, I'll get about 15 to 20 text messages in a day. Yeah. And so I tend to just shut her all down. I just, and go, okay, I'll deal with that later. I wanted to ask something, Rob. When Bobby was talking about people not allocating the time or dreading the marketing and stuff, you started chuckling. What was that about?
No.
Yeah, I gotcha.
No, I mean that's exactly right on the money. When you get into all of that, those are the things that you want to do the least, right? Mm-hmm. Those are the things that you want to do the least. And when I was hired to manage this radio group at the end of my radio career, I remember the owner, who was one of my favorite people in the world, Mike Wilson was his name, and Mike visited and he said, "So how's it going?" And I said, "I'm really struggling, Mike, with time management." And he goes, let me solve this for you. And this changed my life. He said, those things that you have every day, there are things that you have to do. For instance, he used this as an example. By the 3rd of every month, I was to have every market manager was to create, this list of things that were going on, the executive summary for the previous month. And when I would get to that was I dreaded that report every single month. And he said, do it first. As soon as the month is over, whether it's a Sunday or a Saturday or whatever it is, write that executive summary, and then you're not sitting there going, oh, that's due by the 3rd, that's due by the 3rd, that's due by the 3rd.
Oh, yeah.
Take those things that you hate to do and do them first. Get them out of the way. And that's what made me chuckle was that story. And I really, really try. And it's hard Because when you procrastinate with something, you're feeling the stress of getting it done, and that's where that's coming from.
I could have used you in English class, putting that essay off.
I wish I would have known this, all those years ago, honestly. And I still suck at it. I mean, when it comes to prioritizing those things. And that was, one of the other things that we talked about is prioritizing these things when they come in. I find myself, and it's interesting, I'm getting better about this too, Kev, and you were talking about not paying attention to the text messages and the things like that are coming in during the day. I used to have this, and Bobby and I were talking about this, as a matter of fact. I used to have like this urge or this need that every time a message came in, oh shit, I got to respond to that right now. Mm-hmm. And I actually saw a meme with a guy doing that, and he's sending a text to this guy, and before he's even done, before he even submits the message, the guy's answering him. And I'm like, oh, gosh. I do that. And recently, within the last few weeks, I noticed that when I get to the end of the day and I pick up my phone, there's 700 billion notifications on my phone. And I'm like, well, I'm doing better at that. But prioritizing those things, what are those fires that have to be put out immediately? For those of us that work in the automotive industry, we get those things and, it's hot and we got to get it done right away. So those things are going to take priority over other things that need to be done. And that was one of the things that Mike said. He said, make sure you get those things done early and off your plate so that you can properly prioritize them, because we all have a list of things that we want to get done for the day. And the next thing you know, those emails start coming in, and that's when it becomes the freaking bird that you're trying to get out of the living room, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing about marketing that people hate so much is that fear. I mean, a lot of us are introverts, and the thought of reaching out to a stranger in email and trying to form a relationship is terrifying. That's why you want to put it off. But if that's not your thing, think about other ways that you can market that are going to make you feel more comfortable. Yeah. Maybe it's, sprucing up your website. Maybe it's getting on some production house rosters. Maybe it's getting on a pay-to-play and get your samples up. It doesn't have to be, I don't really want to email this person and they not even open it or get rejected. There are other ways that will make you feel comfortable.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think being able to reach out with something that that is a need for that person, and you're not, and everything is not about me, right. And you find that way to get in, and you find that way to say, look, I understand what you're going through, and here's the way that I can help. One of the things that I did when I was marketing for somebody else in the radio industry, I would take one of my prospecting tools, and this was a great. I stumbled upon it by accident, and it worked, and then it worked again. And I would take our complete client list, and I would go, look, we don't have any of this category of people in our work, and so I would reach out to them and I would say, hey, listen, we have a distinct opportunity for you to talk to people that are looking to hire people like you or do business with people like you, and nobody else is on. None of your competitors are on the radio right now. This is a place for you to be able to take advantage of that. And the first time I did it, I immediately, because you're ultimately just trying to get a meeting, right? Or you're just trying to get somebody to listen to your demo in our industry today. And then when they suddenly respond in a positive way, yeah, I'd love to talk to you about that. You're like, oh, that worked. I mean, you're constantly looking, not that they're inauthentic or that they're not really you. I mean, you're just always trying to find those things that work. And I think we have to do that as voice actors when we are effectively trying to market our businesses and our services and those kinds of things. So
you don't want to miss what's next. Making Waves returns momentarily.
Well, hello there. I'm AJ McKay, voice actor, demo producer, and audio engineer. And you're listening to the Making Waves VO podcast with my good friends, love these guys to death, Kevin Kilcarney and Bobby Mayswell. What's that? Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobby Maxwell. Whatever.
As a voice actor, you want to focus on what's important, right? Like pulling off the perfect read. You don't want to stress about tech stuff. That's why Full Compass is in your corner. With 50 years experience in pro audio, Full Compass has everything we voice actors need. Mics, headphones, monitors, mixers, interfaces, DAWs, all the goodies. And their certified product experts help with everything they sell. Plus, you can get free same-day shipping, flexible financing, and a low price guarantee. See it all at fullcompass.com. Fullcompass.com. They know VO.
Making Waves returns. Rob, what are the best ways to, in your mind, to stay top of mind for clients or potential clients without driving them nuts?
Oh, that's a tough question. I mean, and I'll compare it to my Santa Claus side hustle that I do every single year. There are people that hire you to be at their restaurant. They want you to mingle with their guests, but they don't want you to bother the guests. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's a very thin line to walk, and I think sometimes we have to battle in that same way. I don't know. I think we all get like that special intuition that goes, like if you've been at somebody's house and you've overstayed and all of a sudden you feel it.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, this is unwelcome. I need to go. And I think I think the same thing happens to us in that situation with a client. We've all had those clients that you only hear from them when they need you. And that can be frustrating sometimes. But I think that just knowing what they need more than anything else. How do you stay on top of that trend? I think it's going to vary from industry to industry, or revenue bucket to revenue bucket, genre to genre. I mean, we're not going to get the same types of responses from an automotive creative agency as we're going to get from somebody that is an instructional designer for e-learning or something along those lines. Mm-hmm. So, staying up to date. And lots of times I think it's great to have a touch point with a client in that way and say, hey, listen, do you have 10 minutes for us to just kind of make sure we're hitting the right places, And when you have that time, you also get the opportunity to pick their brain about their specific industry. For instance, if it's an e-learning client that you have and you've lost some clients to AI, have a conversation with that instructional designer and say, would you rather work with an AI voice or would you rather work with a human voice, and how and why? And now you have a strategic outline on what those other instructional designers are looking for that you're trying to just have a conversation with. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a question for you guys both. If you had, the perfect client and you had them for a while,
mm-hmm.
whether it be a year, 5 years, and you lost that client, and they didn't really explain why, they just stopped, do you typically reach back out in, say, 6 months to a year and say, what could we do better to continue to work together? Or do you just let it go typically?
Rob, you go first.
Well, it's really ironic that you bring that up because I'm in that boat right now. I just lost, I'll be honest, I'll be a little vulnerable. I just lost my best client that I've had for 7.5 years.
Oh, wow.
Oh, dude, sorry.
Yeah. I mean,
imaging or automotive?
It was an automotive,
Okay.
an automotive client, and the signs were on the wall. I mean, we knew that it was going to happen, although it was a situation where how could you? I mean, what do you want? We had taken this client to great successes, and they were within a DMA market of 60 other Chevrolet dealerships. I mean, we were in the top 15 with 3 of their stores. I mean, that's pretty great ROI, I think. And and then all of a sudden they decided that they wanted to go in a different direction with the voice, I guess. We had that conversation, then everything seemed to be okay for the rest of the year. And the days clicked by in the new year, and I didn't get creative stuff that I was normally getting before the 10th of every month. And so I reached out, and I meant to tell you, Rob, they did finally decide to go the other way. December was our last month with you.
Dang.
So at that point, you kind of know, okay, well, they were looking, but you're also in that situation where you're a little bit too stunned in the conversation to ask why.
Yeah.
So I think my stance is when that kind of thing happens, and we're all going to lose those clients. I mean, that's natural attrition that's just going to happen at some point. I mean, I feel blessed that I had 7.5 years, or almost 7 years with this particular client. We did lots of great creative stuff together. So then you reach that point and you're in shock. And I think for me, what I want to do is let only a couple of weeks go by. I don't think I'm going to wait 6 months, and then just come back with a kind of I'm asking for a friend kind of thing. Because I think there's a wealth of information and intelligence that we can gather from conversations with those clients. And not just go, okay, well, I'm done. He's got other clients. He works for an advertising agency. So this was a little different than just an agency that specializes only in automotive. Mm-hmm. He has other clients, and he's like, man, you're at the top of my list for anything else that comes through the door. So that makes me feel like that we did connect, that we did have a good relationship. And that's ultimately, I think, or for me anyway, what I try to do.
What about you, Kev?
Yeah, it's been, I'm trying to think of like who I've lost. And like, I've had so many one-offs in the last, 20, almost 22 years of doing this. It's not like it counts as a lost client. I have lost some clients. And one or two, I know, that I made a mistake that, one of the early on in my career, I've told you all this story, but automotive client was, trying to track me down, and I got back to the studio, and this is when I first started doing VO full time, and I'm like, I was at the movies. Can I not go to a movie, and enjoy my day sometimes? And I'm like, yeah. And they were like, well, yeah, we kind of needed you pretty urgently for a spot. And I'm like, okay, I'll get it now. And they're like, okay, yeah, send it on. And then, it was like crickets pretty much after that. And I had been doing, a handful of spots a month with them. But anyway, I learned from that one. Others that, like, if I think I've kind of lost, like, it would depend on the situation, Bobby. Like, one of my I've got 3 or 4, long-term clients. And when I say long-term, I'm talking 10, 12 plus years, all of them.
Yeah.
And if one of them, I know they would all come to me and say, hey, Kev, here's what's going on. I feel very confident they would. Some of the other one-offs, so I guess I just let it go. I don't know if there's any one that I've been like, that I've reached out to. I don't know if I've been to one, but like, hey, how can I improve my services? Now, I will tell you this. Every now and then with these long-term clients that I'm talking about, I will do a check-in in terms of like, I've got for an example, I've got an e-learning client that I've been with for probably a dozen years now. And I actually now manage their voiceover roster as well. So I'm on the roster and then like 5 or 6 other folks. And then like, I don't know, once a year or so, I will reach out to them and say, hey, can we grab a Zoom? And I'll be like, hey, how's everything going? What can we improve on? How can we make things better for you? And I'll do the same thing with my big automotive account. I've got a telephone on hold account that I'll do that with. And so I don't know if that's getting ahead of it or what, but I just,
Are they usually pretty receptive to that?
Yeah, they're like, Kev, you're doing great. Like, just kind of keep doing what you're doing, mostly. And I'm like, okay, just making sure I'm here. Let me know. I'm always glad to, pivot and, so I don't know if I get ahead of it that way, but I don't really perseverate on ones that I may have lost. If they were just, 1 or 2 accounts. But what Rob's talking about, significant. That's a healthy little chunk of income that's coming in. I did want to bring up, Rob, really how you and I connected, and this all goes back to marketing. We were introduced via our good friend, demo producer extraordinaire, Eric Romanowski. And Eric's good like that, man. He's so good like that at connecting people. And way back, he was like, hey, Kev, I know you do a lot of automotive stuff. Been working with a guy named Rob Reed. He does automotive. He's really good. If he reaches out, check out his stuff if you can. I'm like, all right, cool. And I did. And I'm like, yeah, this cat's good. And so Rob and I connected. And I don't think immediately there was work, but, it came to be where there was work for Rob. And here's why. I don't think Rob ever pitched me, quote unquote. He sent me his materials and was like, hey, I'm here. But then he kind of left it at that. And then we developed a relationship as friends. And then it just became organic. And that's, and I'll tell you, Bobby, I've developed that relationship with you. I sought you out, Bobby. So that's on me finding you. And boy, am I regretting that. So
you never knew I'd be taking trips with your wife.
Yeah, exactly. Had I known. So there's that. And then I look back at people that I currently work with, like the rosters that I have. And they are pretty much all relationship driven, relationship established. Now, I didn't know Rob. I didn't know, now I'll say friend, Chris Burnett. Rob also knows Chris. Bobby knows Chris. And Chris is a super talented guy, but he did a similar thing. He just reached out and said, here I am. And he tried to develop a relationship, just like Rob did. And it worked. And I'll take that, So in terms of marketing, think long game, long game. And think about, it's trite, it's cliche, but it is really about connections and relationships in this business. Because when I don't know, it was a few weeks ago, it was like at a last minute, I needed a male voice for a car spot. Now, I've got multitude of people that I can go to. But, okay, that list gets really, really small when I think of who can I trust in a pinch and on a tight turnaround. Rob was top of mind because we're friends and I know he's a pro. And Rob, it was those like little one-off man voices, right?
Yeah.
But Rob was like, yeah, dude, have you like 5 takes and 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it was. And I'm like, there he is. There's Rob. That's it. And so now he's been getting those every single month. So it's about relationships from my perspective a lot. And Rob is very good, but Rob does it earnestly. He's not overtly trying to get in your pocket. He's trying to develop a relationship and help the buyer. And that's what it's a huge thing for me too, is what's in it for the person I'm reaching out to? Yeah. How can I benefit them? It's not I'm a good this, I'm a good that, I'm a great at this, I'm a good at that. I have a service that I provide, and I think it could help you.
And I think it's really important. A lot of people write off the conferences and the workshops and webinars because it's so expensive. But those are the opportunities where you can get in there and just let them hear your personality. It doesn't have to be, I want you to hire me, but it's more of what you just said, Kev. It's becoming familiar with each other, and you may pop up in their minds down the road. I've gotten jobs that way.
It's a long game. And let me just echo really quick, Robin, I'm sure you want to comment, but a lot of times when I've needed things too, and I've reached out to talent, it's because I saw a social media post. And their name was like, their name popped in my head. I'm like, oh, hey, you know what? And specifically, I'm thinking of Amanda Utter. Everybody, I think, Rob, you know Amanda Utter, right?
Yes.
Okay. So everybody here knows Amanda Utter. I needed a one-off voice for a female on a car spot. And Amanda's a hoot, by the way. She's great people. She is. But she had posted one of her goofy, Instagram videos or something. And I'm like, Amanda, I need a spot. And she's like, yeah, Kev, great to hear from you. And, it's because a social media post.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Have we learned anything today, Bobby?
Yeah. I mean, I think this isn't your typical marketing chit chat. I think it's gone deeper than that. It's not you should be doing this, this, and this, or make your list. It's more of what's it going to take to get you in that space in your head to be confident and move forward.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Bill DeWeese. You can splish-splash around in Voiceover, or you can make some waves, like my good friends Kevin and Bobby, on the Making Waves VO podcast.
Rob, I want you to give me some final thoughts on this, but I'm gonna lead you into it with a question though. For 2026, what do you think is most important for us as voice actors? Either being loud and present, or more being like consistent? And then give us some overall final thoughts for 2026, please.
Yeah. I mean, consistency always wins. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Consistency, like it or not, beats talent.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's a big thing. But I also think, and I kind of had this in an epiphany one day. Easy for me to say. But I kind of had this in an epiphany, and I was like, I want to serve people without expecting something in return.
So they don't have to pay you?
Yeah, I mean, that's ultimately
duly
what I'm
noted, Rob Reed.
Yeah, I want the exposure. I want the, exactly. I'm more than willing to serve for the presence of exposure, and
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, people.
We've all had friends that do that, right? They do
hey,
things.
I need a voiceover. Could you do it for free? It'd be great exposure.
Or more along the lines of what I'm talking about is we've had those people that do things for you out of the blue, and then they keep like a bank. And the next time they ask you to do something, and you're like, I don't know, I don't know if I have time. They're like, you remember that time that I. You know what I mean?
Come on.
And so
that's a bully.
So what I wanted to do was, as I looked at that situation, I had a friend of mine that had done that to me, and it really, really got under my skin. And I thought about it for a little while, and I was really honest with myself. And so when I sit down to take the first step to create more than just a prospect, I want to turn that prospect into a lead. I want to turn that lead into an opportunity, and that opportunity into a returning client. So how, what is it that I can do to serve you without expecting anything in return? That's a very tough thing to do. But if you can get your heart right, aligned with your head, and write in that way the email that you want to send, or whatever that kind of marketing is going to look like, that's when people see that you are real and intentional, and everything is heartfelt, and you're not just trying to sell me something.
Yeah. That's great.
So
man.
that's I mean, for me, that's it.
I think that's a great microcosm.
That, but
I think we can glean a microcosm out of that. Stay consistent, develop relationships. Don't feel like I'm just trying to get something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's no. I think
marketing gold.
Yeah, this entire episode, man, has been based in your truth and how you market. And I feel like, I do think you've got a holistic vibe about all that. And, you believe in the powers of the universe. Rob, what do you feel about doing good for the community yourself? Because I've seen you do it. I've seen you pull somebody aside and just give them your time for advice and stuff like that, these up-and-comers. And, how do you feel that benefits you?
Well, a couple of ways. One thing, it's a pay it forward that was given to me by some people when I first started to decide that this is what I wanted to do. And it wasn't something that was said. It wasn't like a thing that was said. It was just a general feeling that I got from the people that gave to me. And they didn't say, okay, I'm not going to invoice you, but do this for somebody else. And that's one of the things that I love about our industry is we don't have to say that. I think people automatically can glean that from you and turn around and do that. And number two, we always learn more about something when we try to teach somebody else what that thing is.
I think you're right.
As a coach or whatever. And so when you find yourself in a situation where you can encourage someone, maybe inspire them somehow in some way, I think that when I get done with a conversation like that, Kev, I think we're talking about like being at VO Atlanta or WOVO or whatever, and then when you walk away, you go, man, that felt good to share that with somebody.
Yeah,
just real true stuff. So yeah, that's how I feel.
I love it. Bobby, anything else?
No, I think this is
hour.
Great.
This is an hour. We flew by, y'all.
Oh, can I throw something in real quick?
Yes.
I'm kind of like excited. It was exactly 10 years ago next week that I said ciao to radio and took the leap of faith.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I looked at the calendar this morning and I was like, this is the best decision of my life, work-wise.
Oh,
Right.
that's fantastic.
I love that. Yeah.
And then
Nice.
a couple of years later, you and I met and it was all downhill. Rob,
Love you, man.
This has been great. Rob, are you okay if anybody had any questions, if they wanted to reach out to you, could they do that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right.
It'll cost you.
Yeah, right?
What?
I said it'll cost you.
What's
I'm keeping a bank.
What's a good email address they could reach you if they wanted to do that?
It is rob@robreedvo.com, and I spell read with 2 E's.
Rob, man, much continued success. Thanks for being on the pod again. Is this your fourth appearance?
I don't know.
Fifth?
Probably, yeah.
It's got to be up there.
Yeah.
Bobby,
He
do you
was
know?
your replacement one time. He's like he's like the Jay Leno to Carson.
Except you're not going to steal my show, Rob.
No. Not that I would let you know ahead of time anyway.
Exactly.
Yes. Thanks, Rob.
Rob, thanks for
Pleasure
joining
as
us, man. We'll
Yeah,
talk
it
soon,
was-
bud.
It was great. Take
All
care.
right. See you, bud. Bye. Well, that was fun having Rob on the Making Waves VO podcast. Rob is a deep thinker. He's a great marketer as well, but he does it wholesome, earnestly, Bobby, and he's just a good guy for the voiceover world.
Rob Reed.
Yeah, and if you're in the Texas area and you need a Santa Claus, ho, 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 get Rob.
Right.
Get Rob on the go. Oh, my goodness. All right, Bobby, let's do it. Robbie. Let's do it again next week. How about that? The Making Waves
Sounds great.
Making Waves VO podcast is presented by our good friends at Full Compass, fullcompass.com.
We know VO.
The Making Waves VO podcast is produced by K2 Media Productions with hosts Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobby Maxwell. Sound design and editing by Jason Traver. Production assistance by Lacey Deline. Publicity and social media by Shannon Scott and Silas Phillips. Be sure to subscribe to the Making Waves VO podcast on your favorite platform. For all episodes, merchandise, gear, and more, visit makingwavesvo.com. Until next time, I'm AJ McKay. Keep making waves.